All right, so our last video we talked about form quite a bit. So the FOR part of form, where you're just getting to know someone, finding out about their family, their occupation, recreation, especially important with people that you're just meeting. You know, like you've never met this person before. You got to get down to that stuff, right? But then a lot of people have trouble with the transition, right? Transitioning from...
Right, from the form to the invite.
Right. So you've got the FOR part done. We've talked about that. Now, you want to give your message. You want to, like, you see an opening. You want to give your message, but you're not quite sure how to transition to that, right?
Right.
So Lisa, you were telling me about a conversation you had at work.
Right.
That I thought really fit that really well. And kind of the form was already done, or the FOR was already done.
Right, I had had several conversations with this guy, just really not business related at all, not trying to, form him.
Mm-hmm.
I just talked to him.
Right, just conversation.
And, just conversation.
With
yeah,
someone,
he's
right.
a Navy SEAL. And so he comes into the office, I don't know, a couple times a week or whatever, and... so had talked to him, already
He'll
knew.
He'll probably watch this video
knew.
as a new coach pretty soon, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but he's seen, I have 5,000 medals up in my cubicle, not really 5,000, but...
Right, 5,000 medals.
So I have medals and things up, and he knows that I train for marathons and triathlons, and, so it was funny because I was going to leave work and everything, and I asked him, I said, so what are you doing for the weekend? Because it's 4th of July weekend. Mm-hmm. And a pretty common question to ask somebody, I think, to enter a conversation.
Right.
And he said, oh, I'm going to drink a lot.
Surprise.
He said, we're going to have a bunch of us, and we're going to, go and have some beers. Why don't you come and have a beer with us? Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, I'd love to. I said, but I'm training. I really can't. I said, I'm not drinking right now.
Right. So he already knows that you train,
yeah.
Right? He already kind of knows that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so what did he say when you said that you couldn't because you were training?
Oh, that's fine. He said, you're fine. You can, he's like, your marathon, when's your marathon? And I said, in October. And he's like, it's July. You don't need to, you're fine. And I said, you can't just go out the day before a marathon and go run it. And he said, sure you can. And I was like, I'm not a Navy SEAL, and so we joked back and forth a little bit. And then, and I said, and I'm cross-training.
Right, so right there, okay, that's the point where you're just having a normal conversation with someone, and you insert what we talked about in the form video as like a ping, right?
Right.
And it's not like a made-up thing. You're really gonna go do a P90X3 workout that night. It's part of your life. I'm sure you people watching this video are gonna do a workout, or you're going to go have a meeting with one of your coaches, or one of your upline coaches, or you're going to be on a team call, or you're gonna read some personal development, or you're like all the different things we do as a coach. You're gonna do one of those hopefully during the weekend that they asked you, what are you doing for the weekend, or we were talking about the weekend. So you put that little ping in there, and so what happened in this, some cases they don't go for it, and they don't care about that little ping that you put in, and that's fine. You keep having a normal conversation. Something else in the conversation might be another chance to ping, because you're going to do another thing that relates to your business and to fitness, right?
Yes.
So what did he say, though? This is great. What he said when you said you cross-train.
He said, what do you do for cross-training?
It's like, so she pinged, not even really probably even thinking about pinging necessarily, but you ping P90X3, or that I'm going to do this cross-training. He wants to know what kind of cross-training, right?
Right. In fact, that's the thing, is that I said, I didn't initially say I'm going to do P90X3. I just said I'm going to cross-train. I do cross-training. I got to run. You can't just go out and run a marathon the next day. You can't decide, I'm going to do a marathon and go run it the next day. I said, I got to run. I got to cross-train. He said, cross-train? What do you do for cross-training? So
he wants to know more about that little ping that you put in, and that's when you get to talk about P90X3. Right.
And so I said, oh, I do P90X3. He said, P90X, I've done P90X. P90X3, what's P90X3?
Right. So that point right there that's the open door to head down the road of the invite. This is the point where it's time to transition, right? From pinging and forming and talking about the weekend to...
Well, because he's just given me permission.
Yeah,
Because he's just said, what is P90X3?
Exactly. So what are you going to do when he asks, what is P90X3? Are you going to say, well, it's this program and it has all this stuff in it and you can do this and it's only 30 minutes and blah, 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 and I have a challenge group that starts on Monday and you should totally join it, and would you like to see my website?
No.
Okay. Because, I think that's important, though, because new coaches especially, you feel like you have to preach the program, sell the program. You have to talk and put out all these words about the program. And that's not what you did at all, right? What did you do?
Absolutely not. I just said, you know what P90X is? P90X3 is like P90X, except for it's only 30 minutes.
Real simple.
Yeah.
Didn't invite him.
I did not
at that point,
invite
right?
him, no.
So you're checking to see if there's still more interest in there, right?
Yes.
So what did he come back and say?
Yeah. He said, wow, he said, I really need to get that program. He said, 30 minutes, P90X, that's fantastic. And he had even mentioned that, and Shaun T, he said. Shaun T, that's a newest craze. I said, Insanity, have you done Insanity? And and he said, yeah, but I'm more, he said, yeah, I've done Insanity too. Shaun T, that's the hottest craze. And I said, really? I said, so which do you like better, Shaun T workouts or Tony Horton workouts? I said, are you more of a Tony guy or a Shaun guy? And he said, me, I'm more of a Tony guy. I really like that P90X. It's awesome. Yeah.
See, so I think something to see here, okay? This is my formula. It's obviously what Lisa does too. But when somebody shows interest in a program, like he showed interest in, I've done P90X, what's this P90X3 stuff? What I do is I give little bits of information like, it's like P90X, but only 30 minutes. And then I ask what I call a diagnostic question. I'm trying to get information about their experience and why they're not still doing P90X, for instance. Like he just told you that he's familiar with P90X, not familiar with P90X3. What I'm doing is saying, well, so you've done P90X, how were your results? Something like that. And you asked him, what did you ask him? What
did I ask him?
You just had a good one, though. It was a really good the Tony versus Shaun, right? So he mentioned Shaun, he mentions Tony. A great diagnostic question is, which one do you like better? And what's great about that is it's a pretty normal question, but it also gives you the information of what to invite him to.
Well, exactly, because if I had gone from his reaction to, oh my word, Shaun T, he's the hottest thing, I could have automatically assumed that he was more of a Shaun T guy, because he seemed really enthusiastic and excited about the Shaun T thing.
Right.
But not him. He just knew that it was the hottest thing.
Right.
But
so you could have tried to stuff him into a T25 group. And he would have been
you should try T25 and T25. That's fantastic. You're right. It is the hottest craze. You want to join my challenge group? No.
So that all happens. He's saying, I want to get this program. Is there any more to that story? Did you try to connect with him in some way to make sure that you can continue this conversation?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I said, we're friends on Facebook, right? If we weren't friends on Facebook, then I, of course, would say, we need to be friends on Facebook. And
pull your phone out right there if you have it and be like, what's your name?
Absolutely.
Right? So you can continue that conversation, because this is someone that said, how do I get that program? I want to get that program.
Yes.
This is your chance to invite. So the transition to the invite was seeing the interest and starting to ask questions to get to, how big is this interest, so that you can invite. As you're asking those questions, you start to see the issues that they have. Maybe P90X is great, but it's too long. So, okay, there's an issue. I've got that issue. I like Shaun T and Tony Horton. Let's ask about that. Which one do you really like? Okay, I like Tony Horton. So you like Tony Horton and P90X, but it's too long. Okay, I've got a solution for you. I have Tony Horton and P90X in 30 minutes, and I've got a challenge group that starts on Monday. We should get you into that challenge group.
Yes.
Right? That's how that works. I was thinking of the situation that we talked about on our form video.
Yes.
With the hairdresser.
Right.
We said, hey, I'm going to do a P90X3 workout this weekend. We're using P90X all the time now. This is all we do. All of our conversations are all P90X3.
Well, you are wearing a P90X3 T-shirt, so.
But so she's, you say that you're going to do a P90X3 workout this weekend, and her response is something like what the SEAL said, like, well, I didn't even know there was a P90X3 workout. I know about P90X.
And interestingly enough, I actually hear that quite a bit. Like, most people have actually by now heard about T25. Not as many people have heard about P90X3. So if I'm wearing Wear and Share or, P90X3 somehow comes up in the conversation, that a lot of people say, what is that? Or P90X3, I didn't know there was a P90X3.
Because they have a history of P90X. They've at least seen the infomercial or something like that.
Right.
So the key there is to go ask questions instead of word vomiting all over them with what P90X3 is. I don't do that. What I ask is, I heard them say that they know something about P90X. So I'm going to go dig into what they know about P90X, because they're going to tell me if there was not an issue with doing P90X, they were 100% on board with it, they would be doing it right now.
Absolutely.
There's some reason that they're not doing it. They're either just not motivated right now. Know anyone that can help with motivation? There's an issue you can solve. It was too long. P90X3 is shorter. Those are the kind of things that you're going to find out when you dig into something they said, rather than being like, oh yeah, let me tell you about P90X3 in my challenge group and blah, 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 blah. You ask diagnostic questions. Do you like cardio more, or are you more of a weightlifter? That's going to tell you whether you should put them with Shaun T or you should put them with Tony Horton or Sagi or whatever, Or
I really like dance. I really like to dance. Well, hip hop abs, or I really like kickboxing. Really, Les Mills Combat. There's something, some kind of activity that they would like.
Oh, hey, I haven't been to the gym in forever, but I used to go all the time. Oh yeah, what did you used to do when you went to the gym? Oh well, I took kickboxing classes. Guess what? We have a kickboxing workout.
Yeah.
Why did you do kickboxing classes? Oh, I just love kickboxing. It just keeps me motivated, blah, blah, blah. The music is great, all this stuff. Have you heard about combat? Have you ever done a Les Mills body combat class, or has it all just been like generic kickboxing? Those are the kind of diagnostic things I'm trying to find out. Why are you still not going to kickboxing? Is that really what you wanted to do? If you loved it, why are you not going there anymore? So I'm doing diagnostic stuff to find out what their issues are, and then it's really easy to be like, hey, I've got a solution for you. Why don't you do this with me? Instead of just right when they come up with, oh, what's P90X3, you try to stuff them into your solution.
Well, and a lot of times people will initiate conversation, especially if you're being a product of the product, and you're losing weight, you're getting in shape, and people will notice, and you're posting on Facebook. People will notice that there's changes in you, whether physically or whatever, and they will say, like, if I hadn't seen you in 6 months, I'd be like, wow, Ryan, you look fantastic.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
I won't argue with you.
What are you doing?
I actually just earlier in the year got invited to be in a test group for a new workout program called PIO, which is like Pilates and yoga. And I didn't think I was going to like Pilates and yoga, but I turned out...
Yeah, you don't really seem like a Pilates yoga guy.
Yeah, I seem more like a weightlifter, right?
Well...
Yeah, maybe not. But that's what I would say is I'd be like, I got invited to this test group. I didn't think I'd like Pilates and yoga. It turns out that I love it, and I'm doing it constantly now. I'm even teaching it, even got certified to teach it live.
Yeah.
And I lost 14 pounds. Some people take, hey Ryan, you look really great, what have you been doing, as interest in joining a challenge group. And it's not necessarily, they want to know what you're doing.
Curiosity.
It's curiosity. So you take that curiosity, tell them a little bit, ask them a couple questions. If they give you permission to keep going, you keep going, right?
Yes.
And head towards that invite.
Yes. And, but also when that opportunity does happen and people do allow you to talk to them about it, to actually take that opportunity.
Yes.
And to actually, if somebody's interested, because if they're interested, they want help. They want something that you have. And so, we have what people need.
Right.
And so if somebody shows interest, we have it for them.
That's a big point. You can't, we're talking about sitting at the hairdresser.
Right.
Someone asks you what you're doing this weekend. Make sure that there's part of your Beachbody life in there, because it's there. Why would you leave it out?
Right.
Take the opportunity to tell somebody that you're going to do a P90X3 workout and let them tell you whether that's something they want more of or not.
Yes.
If they don't want more of it, that's fine. You don't have to say it. But it's part of your life. Don't hide it.
Right. Absolutely.
Do not hide it. If someone asks you what you're doing, don't say, well, I'm just eating better. But I mean, if someone says you're looking great and you say I'm just eating better, add in just a little bit of a blip about how you're eating better.
Yes.
90-10
Shakeology. I mean, you are following some kind of plan. You are following some
kind
of program.
They asked you what you're doing. Tell them what you're doing.
Them, yes.
I'm eating 90-10 nutrition and I'm doing a Beachbody workout.
Yeah.
And if they're like, oh, okay, then you don't have to do anything else. That's fine. If they're not interested, they're like, oh, that was boring. Never mind. But most people are going to be like, well, which Beachbody workout? Or maybe you said what Beachbody workout they're going to be like.
Right. Another thing too that I just thought of is that a lot of times somebody will say, "Oh my word, I'm interested. Let me get information."
Right.
And then a lot of times our tendency maybe is to go into salesperson mode when somebody says that, and we start product vomiting or whatever. We start telling them tons of information, and really all they want is to know whether what you have will work for them. I mean, really, when somebody says, I want more information, most of the time, they don't want to know the 120 ingredients in Shakeology and what they'll do for you and where they found them and how they were harvested.
Right. They want to know your story.
Yes.
They want to know your story and your other friend's story and your other friend's story. Mm-hmm. Well, I had a hard time with P90X being too long, too. And that's why P90X3's worked out really great for me because I can fit it in at this time. That's a story instead of, well, P90X is really long and P90X3 is only 30 minutes and it costs this much and blah, blah, and, facts. It's a story. For me, this happened. It sounds like that could work for you too because you're short on time. Like it's a story thing. Anyway, that's our talk on inviting, transitioning from form into inviting. I hope that helps you a little bit. Feel free to ask us questions. There's just so many different scenarios that we can't really just give them all to you. But let's go over the basic idea again, is that you form with people, you're just having conversations. You add in pieces of your life into those conversations that have to do with your business, your workouts, your nutrition, your personal development, things that are related to things that you can help people with.
Right.
What are all the resources that you have that you can help people with?
That helped you.
Make sure that those are part of your answers to your conversation questions. When people are asking you questions about your life, tell them the parts that you can help them with. Absolutely. And if they're like, I need help with that, then you go down the road of invite. If they're like, yeah, I do CrossFit, then tell them that that's wrong, and that no, I mean, let them go do CrossFit, or if they do a certain kind of diet, you can. If they ask you for more information, then go.
So they do CrossFit. I have customers that do CrossFit and drink Shakeology.
Right, exactly.
So
the point is you put in the pieces of your life that you have that are resources that can help people, and as people show interest, you go down the road of inviting. If they don't show interest, then you put another piece in there, right? I mean, you just keep talking about your life, and you keep asking them about their lives, and that's how you transition.
And this is most likely not going to be the last time that you see them, unless you're somewhere at a restaurant or you're somewhere, that you are never going to go again.
Right. But that's why you get their information and you become friends on Facebook, right?
Absolutely.
So that's not the last time
exactly.
you talk to that person.
Exactly. Right?
Okay. Well, I think that's good.
Okay.
I know this is going to end up being a long video, but that's okay. It's a very important subject. So I hope that helped you.